in the last video, we have been reviewing how to count atoms in a formula. Like, here's an example. Here's calcium, oxygen 2, and calcium and oxygen. This is not a balanced formula because if we say Ca, or calcium, has 1 atom, oxygen is going to have 2 atoms. That arrow is explaining that these two are going to be morphed into here. Like this.
Let me show you how it works. Whoa! Do you think your machine could zap me over to the Krusty Krab? Always did want to try a critter. Sure, why not? Get in there, SpongeBob! Woohoo! Hold on tight! Gee, Sandy, this sure feels...
Well, here we go again.
Hey, Squidward! Ah! What's going on with this thing? What in tarnation? Ah! Hi, Sandy.
I'm not sure what it is, but something seems different about me.
So what you saw in the video with SpongeBob and Squidward is when you're balancing a formula, it's telling you that these two is going to be morphed into that because of that arrow, which is going to be called a chemical reaction. Going back to the formula, we have Ca, 1 atom, and over here we have O, 1. This formula is not balanced, so we're going to have to do something to make this formula balanced. Calcium on that side and calcium on that side, they both have 1 atom. Since they have the same amount, they're balanced. But on the other hand, oxygen has 2 atoms and oxygen has 1 atom. That is what makes the whole formula unbalanced. So what we're going to try and do is add something right here, here, or here. That can help us make this formula balanced. In order to solve that, we can use something known as trial and error. Like, you can test and pick any box you want and add a coefficient in it. Like, here's an easy way to do that. Oxygen has 2 and oxygen has 1. That is unbalanced. So what we're going to try and do is place something in these 3 orange boxes to make them balanced. So if oxygen is 2 and O is 1, what we can do is place a 2 as the coefficient. Because here's 1 times 2, that is 2. So if we do 2, that affects that, and that coefficient also affects that. So now oxygen has 2, we get rid of the 1, and calcium now has 2. We are good with oxygen, but the problem is calcium and the other calcium have unbalanced count of atoms. So what we can do about that is put that coefficient as a number 2 and affect it with that. Now they're balanced. They have the same amount. The coefficients had rescued this formula to become balanced. Remember, the elements are going to have the same number of atoms in order to be balanced. If we have like 1 on this side and 2 on the other side, it's not balanced because they don't have the same number of atoms. Like this has 2, that has 1. Now it's balanced because what we're saying is that has 2, that has 2, it's now fair. They're balanced now. Here is another example. We're going to try and balance this equation right here. So, the arrow is telling us what this is going to become this into. So, let's start counting atoms. On this side, until the arrow, we have Fe, that is going to become iron. Fe is just 1. Oxygen is going to be 1. Lead Pb is going to be 1. F2, that is fluorine, and that is going to be 2. On the other side, behind that arrow, we're going to do the same thing to make sure they're balanced. Iron, Fe, is going to be 1. Oxygen is going to be 1. Pb, or lead, is going to be 1. And fluorite is going to be 2. So we're going to try and balance these by putting a coefficient in them. But wait, there is something strange about this problem. We can tell that this side has the same number of atoms as that side. Like this goes with that. Oxygen goes with oxygen. Lead goes with lead. And fluorite goes with fluorite. They have the same number of atoms that make them balanced. So, in order to do that, we would be able to write already balanced. Because we don't want our teacher to be confused that we didn't do anything, because they might think that we don't understand it, but if we write already balanced, that means that there's nothing to do. They're already balanced. Counting atoms and comparing them with the other side is pretty much basically doing wires in Among Us, because we're comparing this iron with that iron, oxygen and that oxygen. So that's what the guy in Among Us was doing. He was making the wires go from here to here and match them by color, like oxygen go to oxygen and the color red go to red. I hope this video has helped you. Thank you for watching Taoping Airlines Math Industry. Like and subscribe. There will be a part 2 video showing our last example of balancing equations.